So let me take you through some of the basic but yet very critical functional features of footwear for football that's essential for players to think about. If we go to the rear of the shoe first of all, this is an important area of the football function. 80% of players playing football at all levels will still contact the ground heel first. It's the natural way that the foot falls and breaks to the ground for the majority of time in the game. Only in the case of full sprinting are they up purely on the forefoot or ball of the foot and the heel elevated. That's in the minority of time in a game. No player sprints for the majority of the game. Now, that means then that the functionality of the rear of the shoe becomes important. So what we have recommended that the company do here is to insert a 5mm heel raise, which is this white material you see around the back of the heel here, and on the side it looks like so. Now, that does two things. It enables the foot to be inclined in a positive position so that it is faster for the player to get onto the forefoot to push off or accelerate, and it's from the forefoot where they can change direction more quickly. So with that raise, they are more quickly into that position because the center of gravity is shifted to the front of the foot more easily, faster. The other second important functional feature of this is our design team has been able to introduce a dual density material in that heel raise component, which means that on the outside of the shoe, typically the foot fall to ground will be in that inclination of about 15 to 30 degrees, like so that that breaking is cushioned more. That material is softer. Number two, as they come down and prepare to impulse or push off, that material on the inside is firmer. So that dual functionality is reflected in dual componentry. It's a performance enhancing feature because it mimics what the human foot and ankle needs to do to propel the player to ground. If we then turn the shoe over, the other really important feature for players is their traction and release or stability. Now, the studs are, in this case, in this model, curved. They are more peripheral to the outside of the plate, and they are broader at the rear than they are at the front. So that enables the player to have good traction as they come to ground in most inclinations, and also the rotational feature of the stud enables the player to release in different directions and offer resistance to lock-up. That's important for preventing intra-articular injuries in the ankle and particularly in the knee. What we have been able to do as well is to communicate the flow of forces with that, what you will see here in this red color material from the rear to the front of the shoe and from the inside to the outside, in such a way that it is a softer material than the clear and the black, so that forces can flow just as they do in the human tissue, which is not all one density, so it needs to be in the shoe. You will notice that the flex zone is not straight, as is typical in most football footwear, but it is inclined in this 30 to 60 degree position, which is the natural inclination from the big toe across to the head of the fifth or small toe, so that the flexion is more physiological, less strain or minimization of harm to the human. And the flex itself is critical. We want it to be just under and behind the ball of the foot, so that when you hold the shoe in the front, for example, and lift, it should only bend underneath the toes. If it is in this middle part of the shoe, or you can flex the shoe too much in the middle, or in fact backwards, then you will not only lose the harm minimization, but you'll actually degrade your performance, because when you strike a ball, you'll lose force going backwards as the shoe buckles in this direction, and of course the foot doesn't like to bend here, it likes to bend there for propulsion. So that is really important. And the final feature that is essential to notice in optimal footwear is the quality of the shock absorption. So we've spoken about these channels on the rear that follow the stud, and the other 50% of the fit and shock absorption componentry comes from within the shoe, the use of a strong, stable, dual density inboard, which is this black material you can see here. The additional pour-on for shock absorption, this black material is one density, the rear 2/3 and the front 2/3 is thinner to assist that flexion and feel, importantly, on the foot. A high quality insole in the first generation that shields from the studs and absorbs shock, critical. and under development, something that is far more sophisticated and superior to this will soon be available. Finally, all-important feel for the players. A single piece in this model, the 1970, kangaroo leather, thin, light, water-resistant, excellent contact on the ball, great skin-on-skin contact because it's a natural material for ball control.